The Spirit of God has always spoken to the person from the very beginning, since the person was created. And from the very beginning, the Spirit of God was outside. He was outside of the person because the person chose to live on his own. But the Spirit of God continued to talk. He talked to Adam and Eve. He talked to Cain and Abel. He talked to Noah, Methuselah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph. And the list goes on and on and on and on, all the way to today. And the Spirit of God that taught people of the truth continued to talk people and teach them of the truth. And when the law of Moses was written, that was the Spirit of God that was there and was writing these things on stones so that people can look with their physical eyes and see, oh, okay, that's the truth. Got it. Only a few individuals had the Spirit inside of them, and those were prophets. They were unique, far and few between from the very beginning. They spoke of things beyond the law and were able to transgress the law because they were above it, because the Spirit of them in them was above the law. And we can see this in every single prophet. They seemingly transgressed the law. They never went against the law because the law spoke about the same things that they spoke about. What was the difference between the people who understood, but from the outside, versus those who understood, but from the inside? The teaching of Jesus Christ could be understood from the outside. It's spoken from the outside in, versus the Spirit being in you who teaches you the same thing from within. What's the difference? The Word, if you read it, it has to be inside of you, in you. It has to become yours, and that is up to you. That is up to you to make it so. The Spirit of God is what separates those who are sealed and those who are not. A religious person always confuses the seal and thinks that the law in him is that seal. The word that tells him this is right, this is wrong. It's so close, isn't it? It's teaching me, because they think it's okay, it's teaching me this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. It sounds like the Spirit of God is teaching me. But the seal of God is different. The seal of God, first and foremost, affirms and confirms and gives that affirmation to the person that you are His child. And it does teach you how to live by the Spirit. That's what it teaches you. And to live by the desire that comes from the Spirit. Not with your own strength choosing good or bad, but just listening to the desires that come from God, not your flesh. However, it's so easy to confuse the law with the Holy Spirit because the law also teaches a person what's good, what's bad. And it says, well, fleshly is bad and spiritual is good. And the person sits there and starts analyzing with your own mind what is good, what is bad, what is evil, what is not evil. And can easily confuse that analysis, that thought process, thinking that that is the Spirit of God in you. Where in reality the desires in such a person are fleshly. He really wants to do something that pleases his flesh. But this analysis in him is strong, and it says, no, this is good, and I will do the good, and I will not listen to the flesh. And that can be the law. And in fact, today, it's so easy to make the teaching of Jesus Christ the law, and making it so difficult to discern and so difficult to figure out whether that is the Spirit moving inside a person, or it is the ability of the soul, the will, the power of the will, the power of the mind. So how does this happen, brothers and sisters, who've all from the very beginning received the word that you have been saved not by your works, not by who you are, but because of Christ. Everyone was rejoicing in this word, every one of us. Everyone was happy to hear that no matter who you are, no matter what you did, no matter what you do, you are just simply saved by the cross, by what Christ did, not by what you did or are doing or will do. It's the same message we all received from the very beginning. And yet, somehow a person of such faith slowly or at some point turns into a religious person. When? This happens when something becomes clear about you. Christ reveals something about you that you need to be cleansed from, and you see it and you freak out. And instead, and you begin to doubt your own salvation, that even like this, you are still saved, you are still His child. And instead you begin to say, well, I don't want to lose salvation. I don't want to lose Christ. So you start saying, I won't do that anymore. I will step away from it, right? You slowly put on the law so that you don't do those things, so you don't lose your salvation, you think. But the exact same word that served you for life is now serving you to die. And you become Romans chapter 7. And it becomes worse because it's so subtle. It's so close to truth. So close. But it comes from fear. Fear takes over joy. Where there is a law, there is always fear. The church becomes a correction facility because everyone corrects each other and yourself, and it's also known a place that takes away your freedom, or the prison. So the law is always a prison. It is always a facility, a correction facility, aka the church, religious church. Why would you do that? Can you believe it? That's not spiritual. For the children in Christ, those who were recently born, that is absolutely important. If you begin to correct yourself in the beginning, you will surely go under law. And if you don't have anyone surrounding you to see that that's what you're doing, you will surely die because you will be under the law. But instead, it's very important to be first and foremost affirmed and confirmed in your selection, that you were chosen, that you were born, and you are His, not according to your works, not according to how you look or how you act or how you think or how you feel, but simply because it's a gift, that's all. And if you don't have that, you will quickly go under the law and you will die.